All right, so starting the geometry unit, put your unit overview on page 81. We'll go in and fill in the table of contents for all these pages at the end. All right, on page 83, you are going to cut this page to make it fit at the top, and then you are going to glue this down at the bottom in the center. So you want both of those to fit on page 83, and then we're going to take some notes on this yellow page. So just trim it down a little bit to where it fits. And then we'll take both of those on that same page. All right, so this is all about angle relationships. Now, you have previously learned about angles. You know about acute angles. What are acute angles? Smaller than 90 degrees. Exactly 90 degrees. What are those called? Right angles. Greater than 90 degrees are obtuse. So now we're going to talk about some relationships between more than one angle. Okay, so let's start up here at the top. Vertical angles. Two angles across from each other on intersecting lines. They are always congruent. Congruent. Who remembers what that word congruent means? Give it a try. Same. Nope, they're exactly the same. They are the same shape and the same size. So let's write that note over here. Congruent means same shape and size. So congruent means they are exactly alike. They are the same shape and same size. So let's draw two intersecting lines. You're just drawing a big old X, and remember lines have arrows on the end to show they keep going. And then let's number those. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's talk about number 1 and 3. These are vertical angles because they are across from each other. They are the same shape and the same size. Do you see how those two are the same shape and the same size? So we're going to say that angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent / vertical. They are also vertical. What other two angles are congruent and vertical in this picture? 2 and 4. Angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent vertical angles. Okay, vertical is something you need to know the definition of, and you need to be able to look at a diagram and pick out pairs of vertical angles. All right, let's go over here to adjacent. Let's go to adjacent angles. Two angles that are next to each other and share a common side. Next to each other and share a common side. So, draw a big old obtuse angle. And draw a ray in here to make two angles. Doesn't matter. Okay? These are adjacent. They are next to each other. They are next to each other. They're side by side, and they share a common side. This angle, this is its second ray, and this angle, this one. So they're next to each other, and they share a common side. That is adjacent. These are vocabulary words that you need to learn. All right, let's go down here to complementary angles. Bless you. Complementary angles. Two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. What does sum mean? Addition problem. So there are two angles that when you add them up, they equal, their angle measure equals 90 degrees. So let's draw a 90-degree angle, a right angle, please. That means it has a corner that's 90 degrees. Do your best to draw a 90-degree angle. Okay? And then split that 90-degree angle. Doesn't matter how you split it. But I know that this angle and this angle are complementary because they add up to 90 degrees. So if this was angle 1 and this was angle 2, and if I said that angle 1 equals, let's call it 65 degrees, and angle 2 is, let's call it, what do we need, 25 degrees? That when I add those up, what would they equal? 90 degrees. Those are complementary angles. Complementary angles that together they look like a right angle. All right, let's go over here. Supplementary angles. Supplementaries are angles are any two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. 180 degrees, if you remember, is a straight line. 180 degrees is a straight line. That means if I measure the angle from here to here, it's half of a circle. A circle is how many degrees? 360. So if I'm thinking about it, if I have this, if I have a cross right here, this makes a circle all the way around. A circle is how many degrees? 360. That means this is 90. This one's 90. Do you see how those are 90-degree angles? 90 and 90. 90 times 4 is 360. So the measure all the way around is 360 degrees. So that means this half of a circle, from here to here, this is 90, this is 90. So the measure from there to there is 180 degrees. That's why a straight line is 180 degrees. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. So just make another angle in there. So I could say this one is 120 degrees because it looks obtuse, so I know it has to be greater than 90. And then I could say this one is 60 degrees. And when I add up 180 degrees, no, that's wrong. Add up 120 degrees and the 60 degrees. When I add those, I should get 180 degrees. And I want you to make a note that 180 degrees equals a straight line. Okay, the last vocabulary word that you need to know is linear pair. What's the important part of the word linear? Line. Linear is a line. Two angles that are adjacent and supplementary. They are adjacent, they are next to each other, and they share a common wall. And they form a straight line. So an example would look just like this. These are adjacent angles and they form a straight line. So these are adjacent and supplementary. So we're going to just draw another straight line angle and split it again. And angle 1 and angle 2. So angle 1 plus angle 2 has to equal 180 degrees. So the last thing is this right here. These are helpful hints for me to remember the difference between complementary and supplementary. So supplementary, the S from the supplementary, if I continued this right here, that would make an 8. Supplementary equals 180. You have to remember that. That's how I remember it. The S turns into an 8 to remember 180 degrees. Nothing on a test is going to tell you that supplementary is 180 degrees. That is something that you need to learn in your memory right now. This C, if I make a straight line down here, it turns that C into a what? A Q? Look right here. Look right here. A 9 makes that a 9 for complementary. Complementary angles are 90 degrees. So the C turns into a 9 to remember 90 degrees. You need to start studying these. If you learn these, this geometry unit is easy. If you don't ever take the time and learn, I'm not saying memorize, I'm talking about learn. You need to learn these. It will make this geometry unit so much easier. Now, we're not going to have time to get to the other 2 pages. Just put those in your journal, and we'll get to those on Wednesday. Remember, you have a math test on Tuesday.